Oh, and really, really gay.
Oh, welcome to the show, everybody. I thought I was unmuted. Sorry, I'm sitting there clearing my throat. I apologize. Welcome to Off Limits Show. We're doing the Brain Purge show tonight. Just a quick impromptu show because I just felt like it. So not sure what I'm going to talk about, but that's the great thing about Brain Purge. I can talk about whatever comes up on my mind. So just for those of you who are listening for the first time, you can always check out my show at offlimitsshow.com. You can listen to the show live there and chat there in the chat room from Spreaker, as well as Spreaker.com. You can hear the show there, chat there as well. You can also listen to my show on iTunes podcast, and you can listen to the show on Stitcher.com and several other places. So we're all over the place just trying to expand my horizons. So if you're interested in listening more, those are places you can hear me. Also, the general schedule for the show is posted on the offlimitsshow.com webpage. If you want to know when I'm going to be on most of the time. Typically, I am on late, about 2 a.m. or so, 1 or 2 a.m., because that's when things in my life have settled down for the day, and I can, I've worked for the day, and I've done my house stuff, and I've done my meetings and things like that, and I've hung out with my husband and whatever. So this is the time of night that I have to myself. So this is why I typically do the show this so late. Plus, I am a genuine night owl. I always have been. I was thinking about that, and there's a lot of people who don't really know about a variety of conditions that people have for sleep deprivation or sleep cycles. I mean, there's all sorts of different types of syndromes and things that people suffer from that are related to why people stay up so late, and others don't. And if you think about it, society has dictated that 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is the work day. And that's when people should be awake and active and going about their day. But the reality is a lot of people are naturally contrary to that time frame and actually don't really wake up until the middle of the day. Sometimes with other people, it's the middle of the night. Pardon me. And so depending upon whom is actually, you're talking about, everybody's different. So, and the real reason for this is that we all have different circadian rhythms, and what circadian rhythms are what circadian is nighttime or moon based or something like that. I think it's nighttime, but anyway, circadian rhythms are what your brain waves, how they work and how they trigger your sleep. And so most people, when they wake up around, naturally. Let's say you didn't have an alarm clock, and you never had to have one, and the world operated without one. Most people would naturally wake up around 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or somewhere in that range, because that's after the sun's beginning to come up or has come up, and the sunlight, even though you can't necessarily always see it if you wear a mask or a really dark room, it's still that time of day triggers your brain to wake up and saying it's time to get up, and those same people typically will get tired and fall asleep around 10 p.m. or maybe even midnight, depending on their body type and or circadian rhythms. And they'll begin to get sleepy after dusk and when the sun goes down, and just begin to sort of wind down their day, and their brain begins to wind down. They fall asleep. Now, that's pretty much my husband. My husband naturally gets up naturally earlier. I mean, he can sleep all day, literally, if he wanted to, but generally, most of the time, he gets up, earlier, like 10 a.m. if he doesn't have to get up, and usually gets tired around 10 p.m., maybe midnight if he's lucky. Now, other people, and I'll explain to you why things are the way they are, and these people being different. Other people actually are they wake up. They wake up. Yeah, they wake up naturally when the sun is up, and naturally maybe mid-afternoon or even later, even evening. And those same people often get tired about when the sun's about to come up or has come up. So it can be the complete opposite. And there's an actual name for this condition, and I have it. It's called delayed sleep phase syndrome. And all that means is that my sleep phases are dictated by my circadian rhythms just like anyone else's, but they actually happen to be contrary to anyone else's. So whereas most people get sleepy, around, like I said, 10 or 12 and go to bed, then I get sleepy around 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. And I naturally wake up at, say, 3 p.m. if I didn't have to get up or anything. Now, obviously, the world that I live in doesn't allow me to function by my schedule all the time. Fortunately, I'm self-employed, so it's easier for me to actually, actually deal with that than most people. Most people, if you have a 9-to-5 job, you have to really be kind of a slave to your boss's, schedule and what they want from you and what they want you to do. And so I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to worry about that. For the most part, I can make my own schedule. Obviously, I have, excuse me, hold on. Obviously, I have the luxury of making my own schedule and don't have to really worry much about that sort of thing where most people do. So because of that, when I have meetings, and I do have meetings sometimes in the mornings, the early mornings, and it's very, very, not early mornings, but usually I'd say like 11 or 12 is the earliest I'll ever schedule anything if I have to. But if I have my druthers, I always schedule everything after 3 p.m. because I really, honestly, my body just cannot get up earlier than that because I haven't gone to sleep until, 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever. Now, I do take sleeping medication. I take melatonin. Melatonin's a natural supplement. It's an herb, not an herb, but a what's the word I'm looking for? A supplement. Yeah, well, it's supplement. And so it's a naturally occurring substance, just like you would find like anything else on the earth. It is as well. And it's actually created by your brain as well. When you get sleepy, what's creating that is your melatonin setting off in your brain. And so what melatonin that you get from, as a supplement does, it does the same thing. It triggers the brain to release melatonin and tell you it's time to go to sleep. Now, and so that forces me to go to sleep. And literally the only way that I can go to sleep, is to actually take something. I can't go to sleep otherwise. I just can't. I have to have something to put me to sleep because I will stay up literally for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And it's not because I want to, it's just because my body won't let me sleep. And so the nights when I don't take something to go to sleep, I literally will stay up until, let's say I woke up at say 3 p.m. that day. I probably won't go to sleep until 6 a.m. the next day, or sometimes if I don't take a pill or something, I'll stay up till mid-noon, till like noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon and not go to sleep until then because I'm not tired until then. So I almost literally have to completely wear myself down if I'm not taking something to force me to go to sleep. I have to wear myself down to go to sleep. And I'm not hyperactive. I don't have ADD. Well, according to my psychiatrist I went to once, I thought I had ADD, and he said, no, you don't have ADD because you didn't have it when you were a child, which I find to be incorrect. But he's the psychiatrist, he's the medical doctor, so I guess he knows what he's talking about, right? But I thought maybe that was the reason, maybe because my mind literally will not go off. It just won't shut itself off. It never has. It just won't. And so I feel like I have to. So when I'm awake or whatever, I just can't shut my brain off. And that's pretty much my issue. And so when I go to sleep, I don't have a problem sleeping. That's the other thing. People with delayed sleep phase syndrome don't have a problem sleeping. A lot of times people will say, well, you're an insomniac. No, insomniacs literally cannot sleep. They just can't sleep no matter what they do, which has got to be hell. So meaning that they can't fall asleep and they can't even stay asleep. So they just literally are always awake. I can stay asleep. It's not a problem staying asleep. It's the problem with me is that getting to sleep is winding myself down and my brain shutting it off. So, I've tried meditation, I've tried medication, I've tried everything, and it just really, nothing works other than actually, trying a sleeping medication or something like melatonin. So I've been using melatonin for a long time because it's a natural substance and it's not addictive and all those things. It's not a narcotic or whatever. So I've been using that for that reason. But prior to that, I had used or had tried to use for a year or two. I'd used it for about 3 years, I think, Ambien. And, most people have heard of Ambien before. Ambien is a sleep medication, and you get over the counter. You get over through your doctor. And so I got that prescription and started taking it, and it worked beautifully. It worked very quickly, which was nice because with melatonin, it takes about 3 hours or more before it kicks in. And if I really, 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 really don't wind myself down, if I'm not lying in bed around that time or something, I can sort of counteract it just by virtue of my brain chemistry. And so it doesn't always work perfectly, but it works most of the time. But it takes a long time for it to work for me because I've been taking it for so long and I'm used to it. Whereas Ambien, when I was taking that actually worked very, very quickly for me. So it was wonderful. Went to work. It worked very quickly, and I slept for a very deep sleep. I got a very good sleep, whatever. Although I did have very bizarre dreams usually on it. And the other drawback to it is that I actually would have sex with my husband. We'd had sex a couple of times. I didn't remember. And I literally thought he was lying to me for a long, long time until I did remember after I really, really, really racked my brain about it. I remembered up to the point of or whatever. And then I would be eating things like chips and things like that I would find next to my bed and thinking, who ate all the chips? And it was me. And so, and there's been stories of people who drive on Ambien, people who have murdered people on Ambien. There's all sorts of crazy stuff that people have used Ambien and have done, crazy crap on. So I stopped using it after the amnesia stuff. I decided it wasn't worth it because I didn't like not having control over my body. Because I read that it does something to your central nervous system where it paralyzes a portion of you. Like it paralyzes the portion of your brain that sends signals saying that you're awake or something to your body, but yet your body still gets signals that it's awake. So that's why it does that to some people and did to me. So I certainly wouldn't refer anyone or condone anyone taking Ambien for their sleep problems because it really, and everybody's different, everybody's some people are fine. Some people are going to be okay on it and other people are really not going to be okay on it. But I just really was okay on it. It worked, but it just unfortunately didn't set well with me having amnesia because of it. So stay away from Ambien. But anyway, so that's my sleep thing. I have a sleep thing, and I thought I'd tell you about that. And that's why I'm always up so late and early and everything else. And I've been that way my whole life. And people don't understand. Literally, I've been that way since I was a very, very young kid. And people who don't understand delayed sleep phase syndrome, which is very, very not well-known syndrome. And most people don't even know what it is or heard about it at all. And I hadn't even heard about it until about 5-6 years ago. And I'd been to the doctor many times, whatever. They asked about my